New information is released after a man is accused of throwing a child off a third-floor balcony at the Mall of America. And France vows to rebuild following this week's fire at the Notre Dame Cathedral.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Welcome to News 3 Now on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield has a look at your first alert forecast. A little rain this morning.
Little rain, a couple of thunderstorms as well, Mark, but we do have an alert day in the forecast for a second round of showers and thunderstorms expected to move through later this afternoon and evening. So Doppler track, we could see that first round. It did provide some lightning and some rumbles of thunder in spots across southern Wisconsin, some brief heavy downpours, but that has mostly moved out of the area. As we zoom out, we can see our second round still getting its act together closer to the cold front, closer to Omaha, Nebraska. That will take the next couple of hours to strengthen, helped by the sunshine. We're noticing some clearing to the south and west of us, and that will help some thunderstorms gain a little bit of strength over the next couple of hours into later this afternoon and evening. So Platteville, we're actually seeing a little bit of light on the Queen Bee Radio Skycam, but in Madison, we're still dealing with the clouds, the kind of leftover remnants from that first round of rain. We have some fog in town as well. Visibility down to 3 miles in Madison and down to 2 in Milwaukee. There has been some dense fog pretty much all morning closer to the lakeshore, but temperatures we could see are warming up quickly where that sunshine is showing up, like Dubuque and Platteville already into the 60s, whereas Madison still at 49 degrees. So temperatures will be warming up pretty quickly over the next few hours. Wind speeds are kind of all over the place with some fronts nearby, but generally at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. A little bit breezy this afternoon with some showers and thunderstorms possible, and some could be strong to severe. We'll take a look at that possibility of some severe weather in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Dave. The Iowa County District Attorney died suddenly in Dodgeville yesterday. The DA's office issued a statement today saying Larry Nelson suffered a pulmonary embolism while at his office. He's a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison Law School and served Iowa County for 17 years. He was appointed as district attorney by Governor Doyle in 2006. His office released this statement in part saying DA Nelson was well liked and respected by his staff and colleagues alike, and he exhibited integrity beyond reproach, adding he will be missed. Additional information about funeral arrangements will be provided in the future by Nelson's family. Police say a man shot in the hand early this morning in Janesville lied to them. Officers were called to the 400 block of North Terrace overnight. They found the injured man who told them someone tried robbing him at gunpoint and he struggled with the attacker over the gun before being shot. Police say investigators determined the injured man gave false information and the shooting happened inside his home. Anyone with information on this case asked to call the Janesville police. The man accused of throwing a 5-year-old off a third-floor balcony at the Mall of America is in jail under a $2 million bond after his first court appearance. The 24-year-old suspect is charged with attempted premeditated first-degree murder. Jamie Yukas reports from New York.
Someone just fell from the third floor to the first floor.
Witnesses described a chaotic scene at the Mall of America Friday as people rushed to perform CPR on a 5-year-old boy. According to a criminal complaint, the victim's mother said they were standing outside of the Rainforest Cafe at the mall when a man, now identified as Emmanuel Aranda, walked very close to them. She allegedly asked him if they were in the way and should move. Prosecutors say without warning, Aranda then picked up the victim and threw him off the third-floor balcony. The child fell around 40 feet.
Basically, everyone's standing around in complete shock.
Brian Johnson saw the boy's mother just after he was thrown.
She was screaming for everyone, please pray, please pray. Please pray for my baby.
Prosecutors say Aranda tried to run, but was quickly apprehended. According to the criminal complaint, Aranda admitted to police he threw the boy and allegedly said he had formed a plan to kill someone at the mall the day before, but it did not work out. The next day, he allegedly said he set out to kill an adult, but chose the boy instead.
He has 3 previous contacts with the Bloomington Police Department, 2 of which were at Mall of America.
Aranda has had multiple run-ins with the law. In July 2015, he was arrested after allegedly throwing things off the upper level of the mall to the lower level. In October 2015, he was arrested at the mall again after allegedly throwing glasses at a woman in a restaurant when she refused to buy him something. Police say both cases were handled through a mental health court and resulted in convictions. On Tuesday afternoon, Aranda faced attempted murder charges for this case. Prosecutors say because of the particular cruelty of the crime, they intend to pursue an aggravated sentence.
And when it's involving a young child like that, it's pretty gut-wrenching for everybody involved.
Aranda will be back in court on May 14th. The GoFundMe for the boy has raised more than $700,000. On that page, the boy is described as the sweetest, kindest 5-year-old you will ever meet, full of energy and life. Jamie Yuka, CBS News, New York.
9-year-old Jamie Kloss is refusing to cooperate in his pre-sentence investigation. A probation and parole agent said in a letter sent to the Barron County judge that Jake Patterson says his lawyer told him, quote, not to cooperate. The agent also said in her letter that she plans to complete the investigation with whatever information she's able to obtain. Patterson pleaded guilty to kidnapping Kloss and killing her parents in their Barron, Wisconsin home in October. He's set to be sentenced next month, facing life in prison. The FBI is searching for a young woman accused of threatening schools in the Denver area. At least 18 districts closed hundreds of schools last night and told more than 500,000 students to stay home just a few days before the anniversary of the Columbine high school shootings. After spending yesterday afternoon on lockout, students at Columbine High School safely filed out of their classrooms. It was a scene frighteningly reminiscent of almost 20 years ago when 12 students and 1 teacher were killed. The FBI says the woman, the Sol Paris, flew from South Florida to Colorado on Monday and bought a gun. Officials say she posed a credible threat to Denver area schools, specifically Columbine.
She has had an infatuation with Columbine and the perpetrators of Columbine. She did not make any specific threats to a specific school, but her comments, her actions that we have heard about from others tend to cause us great concern that she may pose a threat to a school.
Pays apparently purchased the shotgun legally. Officials say they don't have any specific information on what charges might be levied against her once she's found, but they'll hold her for as long as they legally can. Nearly $1 billion has been pledged to rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris after this week's fire. The French president says he plans to rebuild the historic landmark in 5 years and make it more beautiful than before. France also issued a call to arms for architects from around the world to compete to design a new spire to replace the one destroyed. The 5-year plan for rebuilding the famed cathedral coincides with the Summer Olympics in 2024, when millions of tourists are expected to visit the French capital. Firefighters are still assessing the damage. It is still not safe for investigators to get inside to search for the cause, but authorities say it's a miracle that so many treasures were saved. The state's attorney in Cook County, Illinois, is facing more questions concerning the Jussie Smollett case. Kim Fox recused herself from the case, but newly obtained texts show that she was still weighed in. The CBS station in Chicago obtained documents and text messages related to the case where Fox wrote messages to the lead prosecutor discussing the case, even comparing the Smollett charges to those singer R. Kelly is facing in the city. Fox released a statement after the texts were released saying she reached out to ensure consistency in charging. Smollett was initially charged with 16 counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly lying to police about being attacked in Chicago. Police say he paid 2 brothers to stage the attack. Well, there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
No matter what's on your menu this Easter, we have the perfect go-along that could be more popular than the casserole that Aunt Sarah brings every year. Just saying. When it comes to Easter dinner, there are some traditional favorites that everyone loves and requests year after year. Whether you're serving a spiral cut ham, a roasted leg of lamb, or a butter basted turkey, we have just a thing that goes perfectly with any of them. It's an au gratin potato casserole that goes together like this. We start by cutting some russet potatoes into 1/4-inch slices. You can do this with a sharp knife, a mandolin, or a food processor. We place half of the potatoes in a baking dish, then pour a mixture over it that we made by combining some milk with flour, a bunch of spices, and shredded cheddar cheese. We'll repeat the layers one more time before topping it with some butter. Then cover it and pop it in the oven. Once the potatoes are tender, we'll uncover it and sprinkle the top with more cheddar and lots of Parmesan before popping it back in the oven. Creamy? Yes. Comforting? You bet it is. That's what makes it the perfect go-along with just about anything. You might even want to make a double batch. It's that good. To get the recipe for our easy au gratin potatoes, make sure you visit our website today so you'll have it in plenty of time for Easter. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we discovered a tasty traditional way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
And this just in, the woman suspected of making threats toward Denver area schools, including Columbine High School, is dead. CBS News has just confirmed that investigators closed in on the teen today. The circumstances of her death are not clear. We'll have an update on this story later on Live at 4. And next at noon, storms are possible later today. Dave's tracking stuff for us on the first alert forecast. Stay with us. Our call for action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow up 3 points. The NASDAQ, however, down a fraction. The S&P 500 also down 3.91 points. Some earnings reports coming out today having a mixed effect on Wall Street. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee. She's in the radio suite. Hi, Pam.
Yeah. We're waiting on that rain, yeah. I'm just chatting with some folks from central Wisconsin. They've already started planting potatoes up in the Stevens Point area where the sand is obviously a little more conducive to a little bit of field work, but they got snow around, so they're talking about how a little bit of rain might help get that away. And, of course, we've got temperatures that are going to be increasing. More and more emphasis being put on the weather. And, of course, we're still kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with river transportation. Our grain trade for corn and soybeans is slower again on the midday, and the question continues to be, when are we going to start to see the artery traffic on the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, kind of get back to quote-unquote normal? That's not happening right now. One of the traders that I talked to said he expects that it's probably going to be before the end of April before we have any chance of getting that kind of back into alignment. It has helped our bids just a little bit along the Mississippi River, but not necessarily by a lot. So like I said, corn and beans are lower on the midday. The wheat market trying to regain some of the ground we lost last week. The dairy markets are also in play in Chicago with a little bit of a mixed activity for another Wednesday trade session. We're talking at the State House about this dairy innovation hub that they'd like to create, $7.9 million. The dairy industry and researchers are asking to be included in the state budget. Senator Howard Markline, who chatted with me about it, says that it's not focused in on milk production, but instead trying to look for non-food uses for some of our Wisconsin milk and also looking at new market possibilities. We'll see how that goes. Barrel cheese down 3/4 cent today at $1.59. 40-pound block cheese in Chicago up a penny and a half at $1.67 1/4. Double A butter today also up a penny at $2.28 a pound. So like we said yesterday, Mark, the April showers should definitely bring May flowers. And I just glanced at my calendar. May isn't all that far away.
No, it's not. We're over halfway there.
Yep, exactly. And I heard thunder boomers this morning for just a minute.
Yeah, that's what Dave said. A couple of cracks. All right, thank you.
You bet.
See you tomorrow. And Dave is here now with the forecast. More thunder boomers, perhaps?
Yes, a couple more cracks of thunder. Not out of the question as we get into later this afternoon and evening as a second round of showers and thunderstorms on the way. And here's why. We had the warm front spark some showers. That was our first round, and thunderstorms earlier this morning coming through southern Wisconsin. But that round has moved off to the north and east. We're in what's called the warm sector right now, in between the warm front and the cold front, with the low pressure system off to the west, and we're watching to see additional development ahead of that cold front come through later this afternoon and evening. Right now, really not seeing too much activity. I think much of the early afternoon is actually going to be dry across southern Wisconsin, but we do have a risk of some strong to severe storms later on, especially for southwestern Wisconsin. That's a level 2 out of 5 slight risk in the yellow there. The rest of us in a marginal risk, so Madison kind of cut in half with that. So we'll call it a risk for a couple of strong to severe storms later on tonight. Isolated is the word that we like to use, but that can sometimes be a little bit confusing. Some large hail, heavy rain not out of the question, and also, especially across southwestern Wisconsin, we do have enough spin in the atmosphere to get a quick tornado or two. That's not out of the question either, so we're watching that very closely. Right now, we're still seeing mostly cloudy skies in Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam, but starting to see a little bit more light filter in, so that sunshine will help get our instability up and help really strengthen those thunderstorms when they do form later on. Still pretty cloudy in Madison, but we're seeing a similar trend as we get into the next couple of hours. So let's go through our SLIM test. That's what I call the ingredients necessary to get severe storms. So SLIM is an acronym standing for shear, lift, instability, and moisture. We have plenty of shear. That's the changing of wind, or strengthening of wind, or changing of wind with direction as you go up in the atmosphere. So that gets that natural rotation in the atmosphere, and we have plenty of that with the low pressure system nearby. We also have a source of lift, the cold front that is on the way. Really, the biggest question mark in this forecast is the amount of moisture. There's really not that much. Even though we did have some rain and fog in the area, it's not all that impressive. We are seeing some sunshine start to move in south and west of Madison, so closer to where we're expecting the slightly better chances for some strong to severe storms. Temperatures are increasing pretty rapidly into the 60s, closer to Dubuque and Platteville. In Madison, still in the 40s, and dew points are are in the 50s, which is decent, but really when we talk about strong to severe thunderstorms, we want to get those dew points in the 50s or upper 50s and lower 60s, and we're really not seeing that much of that. And the air that's coming in is really not that much more damp than what is over us right now. Wind speeds, they could be gusty at times today with those storms out of the east right now at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. On future track, we notice the second round of showers and thunderstorms moving from west to east and getting to Madison closer to about 6 to 8 p.m. And again, some of those storms could be strong to severe with some hail and also some heavy rainfall. And again, especially south and west of Madison, an isolated tornado not out of the question. Tomorrow, the clouds staying tough. Temperatures only in the lower 50s. Depending on where these thunderstorms set up, we could see about a quarter to a half an inch of rain, maybe even locally heavier amounts are possible. Then we start to calm down and the nice weather gets here by the time we get to Easter weekend with temperatures in the 60s and 70s by Easter Sunday.
I'm concerned you're wearing a lightning tie.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye on things. Thank you, Dave.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. Well, which is cleaner, a man's beard or a dog? You might be surprised by the results of a new study from Switzerland that says the answer is your dog's cleaner. Lori Perez went to California Dog Park to test the theory.
Nice. Yeah, about that beard, though.
I do not think my beard has more bacteria than the average dog's fur.
He scoffs, but a new study from Switzerland found more harmful bacteria in samples taken from men's beards than the fur from dogs' necks. In fact, 39% of the men studied tested positive for microbes that pose a threat to human health.
Is it true in your and Ziggy's case?
I don't know. My dog likes to roll and poop, so...
We couldn't get an actual doctor to weigh in, but we did find Jake, who has some expertise in the subject.
So when I was in elementary school, I did a science fair project about whether humans had more bacteria in their mouths than dogs.
Not surprisingly, he and other bearded fellows and bearded barbers with pups question the study.
He goes on hikes twice a day, and, you know, we're in a big city, so I would have to assume that he has more bacteria than my beard, but...
At least we hope.
Yeah, I would hope so, yeah.
And my dog is always outside running around, getting dirty and stuff, you know.
I want to see proof. I need to see it. I need to see the study for myself.
But clean-shaven dog owners aren't quite as skeptical.
Do you think your dog is more clean than the average man's beard?
I would say yeah, for sure.
And you have friends with beards
Yes, I do.
who are likely have more bacteria than your dog?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's going to go right down the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
I have two very clean dogs, that's all.
Well, that's great.
All right. It might get cleaner with some rain on them.
Yeah, a couple of strong storms possible later this afternoon.
All right, we'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.